Welcome, and thank you for coming. My name is Casey Stark. I am currently the Interim Assistant Director of Student Athlete Services, so I work specifically with Division I student athletes at Bowling Green State University in academic support and life skills programming. Prior to that position, I was the graduate assistant under Lana, working with student programming and leadership in recreation and wellness as a college student personnel master's student. I'm so sorry I can't be there with you today. I really wish I could be, but was hoping I could share a little bit of my piece of this presentation electronically with you all. So the Recreation and Wellness at Bowling Green State University employs two theories with our student staff members that is in an effort to help them grow as both student leaders and as individuals. We use the 5 practices of exemplary leadership from Kouzes and Posner's Leadership Challenge, as well as Marcia Baxter Magolda's theory of self-authorship. Excuse me. So I'll start a little bit with the student development theory, specifically with Marcia Baxter Magolda's self-authorship. So as student staff members, our student staff members are continually challenged from an early point upon hiring to work with protocol and interpret policies that are impossible to train on a regular basis. So we employ self-authorships with them as an opportunity for them to first start by following the formulas. We give them the policies, we give them the handbooks right off the bat. We ask them to review all of those pieces and then also work with them specifically about those policies. Following that, however, they are sent off into our different venues and they are expected to perform and to interpret those policies. And it is impossible on a regular basis to have them know ahead of time what they're going to be interacting with. So we can troubleshoot with some of the typical policies that they'll be interacting with, but every once in a while you get that patron that you never see coming, right? And so by encouraging our students to work with self-authorship, we're encouraging them to trust their internal voice and to really work with their peers and interact with them and use the leaders above them and their supervisors to make sure that they are getting the support they need and interpreting things correctly, and also working with that internal voice to make sure that they're developing a professional presence and giving them the tools to be successful, not only as student staff members here, but giving them transferable skills for when they graduate. The other major theory that we utilize is Kouzes and Posner's Leadership Challenge and the 5 practices of exemplary leadership. The 5 practices of exemplary leadership tends to be in the forefront for our student staff members. They really engage in that, and it's really digestible for them as at their developmental level. So we use that by making sure that we use the terminology. We talk about modeling the way and inspiring a shared vision with the student leaders so that hopefully that'll then trickle down. We start that off early with Student Employment Board and talking each time that we have a meeting with them about the different pieces. We'll take a practice of exemplary leadership for each meeting that we have, and we'll really tackle that. And what situations have you interacted with in the last month that really translates to challenging the process or enabling others to act. We utilize those opportunities for our student leaders as staff members to then take that information back and then bring it to their student staff and really start to engage in those conversations. We also utilize that by adopting each of the different practices as parts of their programming. So each time we have a student development and leadership seminar, we talk with the people who are going to be presenting it about the different outcomes that we're hoping, and we tie that leadership theory to whatever their process is or whatever their presentation is going to be about, so that they're really using that terminology and they're bringing it in a digestible way to their student staff members in the room and the student leaders in the room. Also, the Student Employment Board is encouraged to work with Encouraging the Heart by being the kind of the main planning committee for their opening and closing banquets at the beginning and the end of the year. The Student Employment Board really tackles the awards and the recognizing those students who've done well. In addition, we have many of our student leaders who are using that terminology back with us, which is really, really successful for them to start to see that they can see the theory and that it's helpful and that it's something that's usable in their daily life, and hopefully something to guide their presence with their staff members and with the patrons that they interact with on a regular basis, and also with their fellow students that they're seeing on a regular basis in that staff capacity and in life. With Encourage the Heart, our Student Employment Board really takes on the ownership of awards at the end of the year, and our staff members, both professional and student staff, take ownership with Encourage the Heart through our incentive program. So we, this year, have started to adopt a peer incentive program so that student staff members can encourage the heart and really interpret the 5 practices of exemplary leadership from Kouzes and Posner to be able to recognize their peers that they're working with on a regular basis. It recognizes those who are using that self-authorship and growing and developing it throughout the process, and really catch someone doing something right and being successful in that way. So I hope that helps kind of sum up what we do for our theory to practice. But I am so sorry I couldn't be there with you. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. But have a great time and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thanks.